This video I've entitled, This World is Not Our Home. I guess you can understand what this is going to be about. God will make the new earth his dwelling place. Heaven and earth will then no longer be separated as they are now, but they will be one. It's been said that we humans are homesick for Eden. What do I mean by Eden? The Garden of Eden, at the beginning. We long for what first man and woman once enjoyed. Every attempt at human progress has been an attempt to overcome what was lost in the fall. We long for the return to paradise, a perfect world, without the corruption of sin, where God walks with us, talks with us in the cool of the day. Remember back in Eden, God was there. How do we know that? Because soon after the sin, God said to Adam and Eve, "Where are you?" Well, they were hiding because they realized now that they didn't have any clothes. They hadn't done that before. So what did God do? Made them clothes out of animal skins. And then he prescribed essentially what their judgment was going to be then. So we long to return to that, where God will be with us. So because we are human, we desire something tangible and physical, something that will not fade away. And that is what God promises: a home that will not be destroyed, a kingdom that will not fade away, a city with unshakable foundations, an incorruptible inheritance. Jesus said in John 14:2-3, he was going to prepare a place for us, and he will take us there to live with him forever. Now, this is not, again, like the thing in Revelation 19:11 where Jesus comes and stays. Jesus said, "I'm going to prepare a place and take you to where he's lived forever." We follow the story, and the whole progression will get us to the final end. But this is what would be called part of the rapture. Revelations 21 makes it clear. It's the new earth. That's where the New Jerusalem will reside. And it comes down out of heaven. Only then will we be truly home. There's a saying that I think I coined some time back. Maybe somebody else has said it and I just haven't heard from somebody else. But here's the thought. This life that we're in right now is really our pre-life. Our real life is in heaven with God. Now, I've read several books about heaven and rapture and revelations and things like this. All of them I want to come back to the Bible. But one of them is called Heaven, and it was authored by Randy Alcorn. He says in this book that he heard a pastor on radio. Now remember, this is a pastor. He didn't say what denomination. But this pastor says there is nothing in our present experiences that can suggest to us what heaven is like. But if the eternal heaven would be a new earth, doesn't that suggest that the current earth must be bursting with clues about what heaven will be like? Well, Randy Alcorn also said that this pastor said he didn't really like to think about heaven. He thought that they would just roam around heaven all day in a cloud and not do anything. Well, that's further from the truth, and there are so many scriptures that belie that, and we need to understand those. Scriptures give us the full image of hints and implications about heaven. And this pastor just didn't understand all of these scriptures. In Hebrews 11:10, 13, and 14, it tells us there will be a city in heaven. Hebrews 11:16 describes heaven as a country. This states there will be cities and countries, and we will know where we are. In 1 Corinthians 15:40-45 tells us that we will have resurrection bodies. We can imagine having these bodies because we know what a body is. We've had one all of our lives. Then Revelations 14:13 says that in heaven we will rest. Hebrews 4:10-11 says we will want to rest. In 2 Peter 3:13, Peter says we will be looking forward to the new heaven and new earth that God has promised. Genesis 3:17 says that earth has been damaged by our sin. Therefore, the earth as it is now is under a curse, and that is not our home. The world as it was in the beginning will be our home. So that's why Earth's redemption is essential. The entire physical universe was created by God's glory, or for God's glory. So just as God promised to men and women, he promises to renew the earth itself. Many passages allude to the new heaven and new earth without using these terms. God's redemptive plan climaxes not at the return of Christ, not in the millennium kingdom, but on the new earth. Only then will all the wrongs be right. Only then will there be no death, no crying or pain. Revelations 21:1-4. If God's plan was merely to take mankind to present heaven, or to heaven that was the dwelling place of spirit beings, which is the present heaven, there would be no need for a new heaven and a new earth. So, what does it mean for the curse to be lifted? When Adam and Eve fell into sin, Satan appeared to have ruined God's plan for righteous, undying humanity to rule the earth in God's glory. Now, when Jesus comes again, and when the millennium is set up, Satan will be bound for 1,000 years. And if it were not so, and if it was, our earth now would be destroyed and there was no way of redeeming it or revitalizing it, Satan would have won. But immediately after the fall, God promised a Redeemer, the seed of the woman who would one day come and crush the serpent. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between you, her offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel. Genesis 3:15. What is that really saying? It says that the seed of the woman, in this case the Messiah, will crush the serpent. The serpent will strike at his heel, but will not overcome. So one of the results of this sin had to be death. Promised victory must be part of removal of that death. So it implies the promises that are said in Genesis 3:15-17 about the expectation of the new earth. Later it is revealed that this Redeemer would be the seed of Abraham, from the tribe of Judah, from the house of David, on down, and we can follow it over and over. And we can see that it comes directly from the line that was, in a sense, Adam and Eve, through their thirdborn, Seth. So the suffering servant, as described by Isaiah many times, would be the one that would redeem God's people. Isaiah describes him completely. He says the suffering servant would be Christ the Messiah. And it permeates every aspect of the new creation. Matthew 25:34. Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. This was not about Jesus' time on the earth the first time. This was about the time when the new creation. This is exactly the kingdom beginning on earth and the inheritance for us as true believers is set aside in God's given property. Ephesians 1:10 says God's plan for the ages is to bring all things in heaven and earth together under one head, even Christ. All things, it's a broad term, inclusive. Nothing will be left out. Just like the motto of our military personnel. Remember that one? No man left behind. Now, I spent 4 years in the Air Force. I didn't have any active combat, but I had 2 years of reserve after that. And I could see the last part of my time, some people coming back, and that was their motto. So this verse corresponds perfectly to the culmination of history that we see enacted in Revelations 21. The merging together of the once separated realms of heaven and earth, fully under Christ's lordship. Heaven is God's home now. Earth is our home now. Jesus Christ, as the God-man, forever links God and mankind, and thereby forever links heaven and earth. 1 Corinthians 15:28 declares that Christ will become the unchallenged, absolute ruler of the universe, and then will turn over to his Father the kingdom he has won. What does that really mean? In the new heaven and new earth, Revelation 21:22, we're told God comes to earth to dwell. The new heaven and the new earth. So, redeemed humans will be God's unchallenged, delegated rulers of the new earth. God and humanity will live together in eternal happiness, forever deepening their relationship as the glory of God permeates every aspect of the new creation. Romans 5:12-19. Christ is essentially the second Adam. There's a story in Jeremiah 12, talks about allocating property. You need to go back sometime and read that one. And originally, the only one that could do that was Adam. Well, he sinned. So then we see in Revelations 5, chapter 5, that no one could open the scroll that's described in Jeremiah 12 except the Lamb of God. Finally was able to open it. And we see that in Revelations chapter 5. So Christ will undo the damage wrought by the first Adam, the first man. In the cross and the resurrection, God made a way out, only to restore his original design for mankind, but also to expand it. In our resurrected bodies, we will again dwell on earth, a new earth completely free of the curse. That's what it means by having the curse removed. Christ came to remove the curse of sin and death, Romans 8:2. Revelations 22:3 says, no longer will there be any curse. If the Bible said nothing else about life in the eternal heaven and the new earth, these words would tell us most of what is important. No more curse. Thanks for watching. Please like the video if you will, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.